Okay, welcome to the Swing Trading with Cycles channel. We're going to do a uranium update here. It's October 15th. Again, this is a channel where we time the markets without predicting the markets. Predicting is incredibly unreliable, inconsistent, and what you can actually do is analyze the trend, find the reversal point, and get in early in the new trend, whether that's a downtrend turning into an uptrend or an uptrend turning into a downtrend. That's how you get in early in a high probability way without quote unquote predicting the market. And so we'll start with CCJ here. We've been talking about this in our previous videos. You'll take a look at the links in the description. This gap was something to be reckoned with. And I mean, ironically, we gapped down below the gap. Like we just completely missed the gap versus like the expectation was that at some point we would just kind of do battle with it. Instead, on October 12th, we opened way below the gap. And since then, we've actually just consolidated. So that was Wednesday, and Thursday we consolidated, and then Friday we actually made a new low below the low of those previous 2 days. That's important to understand. And I hope you're getting that. If you're lucky enough to have found this channel, you're starting to understand how that works, right? These 2 days, the consolidation was, the low was 21.42, and we closed below that. That suggests to me we're going to go test this like $20 area, right? Like that, right? In that neighborhood. Again, gapped below this. We gapped down below this gap. So at some point, this gap is going to get filled to the upside, and so we're going to want to pay attention to it. On the weekly chart, this yellow line, this yellow thing is your 200-week moving average. That's something that's coming into play in many assets. You can see we're way above it here, and on basically almost all assets are either below this thing or flirting with it. And so you want to start to ask yourself, is uranium going to be able to avoid that fate, right? Are we going to be able to avoid getting down to the 200-week moving average? It's starting to seem like that's not going to be the case, especially since we're in the 3-year cycle decline, and we'll talk about that as we get to the monthly chart. But that is right now, and the 200-week moving average is rising. I would say it's in the $16 area. We're up here at 21, obviously. I'd say you have to deal with one downside level at a time. We're going to do battle with the $20 area, and then we'll see a breakdown from there. Probably does mean a move closer to 16, but that's going to be a huge buying opportunity, I imagine. And if we look at the monthly chart, again, I've been talking about this month 25. That was your high for the 3-year cycle. Then we had this low here. This was a swing low at one point. We came up here. This became your double top in August, right? Or excuse me, September. Because this did not make a new high, didn't even get to this high, just stalled out. And this is why we've been kind of drawing this little ray here, just to make it kind of crystal clear, right? Like you can see it's clearly sloping down. And when you start to move into a longer term cycle low, that's always not the most positive. Like that's when you can start to get something like a waterfall decline. So we're on month 31. And we would expect the 3-year cycle will be around 36 months. So we could be falling for another 5 months. That's obviously not great news. And this is the same kind of timing as most of the broader markets. And you can see, again, links in the description for that content. The last thing I'll point out for the CCJ chart is this teal line here is your 50 period moving average. This is your monthly chart, so it's your 50-month moving average. So about 4 years. You can see this thing has lived below that for a long time. And then we had our 2020 low. And then we sprung above it, dipped below it, and now we've been well above it. So same as the idea of the 200-week moving average, we're going to want to watch for this 50-period moving average, in this case the 50-month moving average. You can see this huge bull run. We stayed way above it. Right? So there's going to be a time where that happens again, and maybe this is actually part of it, right? Like this is something like this. Like this is akin to this, right? So we're going to just keep accelerating. We're going to get nowhere near it. But it could be that this is something like this, right? We're gonna dip below it, and then we're gonna have a rocket ship. But this is a good kind of short of hand to kind of look at, right? And from here, we'll look at some of the other uranium names that we talked about. Oh, actually, before we do that, let's finally just look at the annual chart, because this is important. This thing has gone red in a bad way, right? So this is still CCJ, and you can see that chart we were just looking at with a monthly, how far below the 50-month moving average we were. That's all this, right? These are, each candle here is one entire year of price action. So it makes sense. All that downdraft on the monthly candles is being represented here on these red annual candles, right? And then we had this period in 2020 where we were moving up. But look at how we're starting to shape up for this year of 2022. Not good, right? And we're going to really want to stay above the low from this year, which is right around 18. So if we did get to that $16 area, that would not be a good look. That's important to understand. And so let's look at some of the other uranium names to get a sense. So this is Paladin. And so we will focus on the monthly chart. So Paladin is actually still green on the monthly. So it could be that CCJ is actually underperforming these guys, right? ISO Energy, so this is red. Definitely looks like it's moving lower. Can Alaska, okay, already made a new low. Base load, oof. Okay, so for the most part, they're all red, right? Via GoVX. L Lightbridge is still green. Mega Uranium is actually bouncing a little bit. URNM, the ETF, that looks like it's really going to need to test that $60 area, basically. I suspect it will not survive it. And finally, URA, oof, that's making new lows as well. So that gives you a good kind of sense of like a round robin of the uranium space. Not looking great. And again, that's a function of everything moving into a 3-year cycle low.